when you open your eyes between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. It's not just another restless moment of the night. It's a divine appointment. Those hours are not ordinary, they are sacred. The world is silent, distractions fade, and the whisper of destiny becomes clearer. Many people roll over, trying to fall back asleep, but the awakened ones, the dreamers, the visionaries, the called, they understand that the early hours carry a message. When your spirit stirs before the sun rises, something greater is calling your name. This is the hour when heaven downloads instructions, when your heart receives revelation and your purpose finds direction. You may not hear a loud voice, but you'll feel a gentle pull, an inner knowing that says, get up, something's waiting for you. It's in those quiet moments that clarity is born. Your next idea, your next breakthrough, your next step, it often shows up when the world is still asleep. Don't ignore it, use it. Speak to your future, pray over your dreams, write down your vision. Because those who rise while others sleep are the ones who walk in favor while others wonder how. Between 3 and 5 a.m., heaven is awake. And maybe, just maybe, it's waking you up because your destiny can't wait any longer. There is a mysterious stillness that settles over the earth between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. It's a silence unlike any other time of day. The streets are quiet, the world is asleep, and even the noise of your own thoughts begins to fade. In those early hours, something sacred happens. The physical world slows down, but the spiritual world becomes more alive. The veil between heaven and earth feels thinner, and the voice of destiny begins to whisper. That's not a coincidence. That's divine alignment. When you find yourself awake in that window of time, it is not always restlessness or insomnia. Sometimes it's a call, a gentle nudge from God, from purpose itself saying, come closer. I want to speak to you. The reason your spirit stirs while the world sleeps is because alignment doesn't happen in noise. It happens in stillness. The 3 to 5 a.m. window carries a spiritual frequency that is impossible to find during the day. At that hour, there are no distractions, no phone calls, no traffic, no notifications. Just the quiet space where the voice of truth can finally be heard. Many of the greatest ideas, revelations, and awakenings in history began in the quiet of the early morning. Those hours have birthed books, inventions, prayers, and decisions that changed lives. It's as though heaven reserves that time for those who are willing to listen. When your body wakes before dawn without reason, don't rush to complain or reach for your phone. Instead, take a breath and ask, why am I awake? Because there's always a reason. Sometimes your mind is anxious, but often your spirit is alert. Your inner man, your higher self, has something to say. And in that stillness, if you lean in, you'll start to feel guidance taking form. An idea, a direction, a name, a vision. That's divine alignment in action. It's the moment when your spirit synchronizes with something greater than yourself, something eternal. It's not about religion or ritual. It's about awareness. Being awake when heaven is awake. That's why people who cultivate morning discipline, prayer, meditation, reflection, gratitude. Often live with clarity others never find. They start their day not by reacting, but by receiving. Between 3 and 5 a.m., you're not just awake physically, you're available spiritually. It's the hour when purpose looks for a willing vessel. Think about it. The sun hasn't risen yet, but the light inside you has. The world hasn't begun its race, but you've already stepped into alignment. This is the time when ideas flow freely, when faith feels stronger, when peace comes easier. It's as if God Himself schedules appointments in that window, knowing that the world won't interrupt. The ancients knew this. Great prophets, leaders, and thinkers used the early morning to seek wisdom and strength. They understood that when the world is asleep, heaven speaks loudest. When you rise in those hours, you align yourself with a rhythm of creation itself. Even nature moves in alignment. The birds begin to stir before dawn, the wind softens, and the first light stretches across the horizon. Everything prepares for a new day. You are part of that rhythm. Waking up early isn't punishment. It's participation in the natural flow of life. It's as though creation whispers, "Come, join me. Let's begin again." Divine alignment doesn't happen randomly. It happens intentionally. When you choose to honor that time, to pray, to reflect, to listen, you start to feel an inner order returning to your life. Chaos loses its grip because you've stepped into clarity. Confusion fades because your mind and spirit are in sync. You no longer chase answers, answers start chasing you. That's the power of alignment. Most people live disconnected, awake in the body, but asleep in the spirit. They wake to alarms, rush into noise, and wonder why they feel lost. But those who honor the early hours understand something deeper. Your day doesn't begin when the sun rises. It begins when your soul does. If you spend those hours aligning with peace, gratitude, and vision, the rest of your day becomes a reflection of that power. You don't move in reaction, you move in purpose. In divine alignment, timing becomes your ally. You stop forcing doors open and start walking through the ones that open naturally. You stop worrying about what others are doing because you're too focused on what you're becoming. You begin to feel carried, not by luck, but by direction. And it all begins in the quiet. That's why the universe wakes you early, not to punish you with sleeplessness, but to position you for greatness. When your spirit is open between 3 and 5 a.m., your perspective shifts. You start to see that what looked like delay was preparation, that what felt like loss was redirection, and that your struggles were actually instructions. You begin to sense patterns that others overlook. You gain wisdom beyond your experience. That's what happens when you are in alignment. Your eyes open to what your mind couldn't see before. Don't despise the wake-up call, embrace it. Because every awakening, physical or spiritual, carries a message. Sometimes the message is simple, be still. Other times it's urgent, act now. But always it is divine. Every time you honor that call, you grow stronger, more focused, more in tune with your destiny. The 3 to 5 a.m. hour is a classroom, and if you attend, you'll learn lessons that change your entire life. So the next time your eyes open in the quiet of dawn, don't rush back to sleep. Sit up, breathe, listen. Speak gratitude. Write what you feel. Pray for direction. Because that's the hour when your spirit is aligned, when heaven leans close, and when destiny whispers your name. It's not just morning. It's the moment of divine connection, where purpose finds the one who's ready to receive it. There are moments when you lie awake in the middle of the night, staring at the ceiling, wondering why sleep has left you. You turn over again and again, trying to silence the noise inside your head, but something deep within won't let you rest. You feel restless, uneasy, stirred, and you think it's just stress or overthinking, or maybe too much caffeine. But what if it's more than that? What if that restlessness is not a problem, but a calling? What if that stirring inside of you is heaven trying to get your attention, purpose trying to awaken your soul, destiny knocking at the door of your spirit? You see, not every sleepless night is meant to frustrate you. Some are designed to focus you. Sometimes you're not tired. You're being summoned. There is something inside you that refuses to settle because it knows you were made for more. You can try to ignore it. You can try to drown it out, but it keeps coming back. That's not coincidence. That's calling. The same restlessness that keeps you up is the same energy that will lift you up if you pay attention to it. It's the whisper that says, "You've stayed here long enough. It's time to rise. It's time to move." Restlessness often shows up when you've outgrown where you are. It's the soul's way of telling you that your current environment can no longer contain your potential. The job that once fulfilled you now feels small. The circle that once fit your comfort now feels tight. The dreams you once thought were enough now feel too shallow. That pressure you feel, that discontent, is the beginning of transformation. It's not punishment, it's preparation. You're being prepared for a shift. The truth is, purpose rarely comes to you in comfort. It calls you through discomfort. It shakes you awake through divine dissatisfaction. That's why you can't sleep when your spirit knows there's more to do. You're being stirred because you've become too still. You're being awakened because your assignment has been updated. The same way a bird's wings ache when it's time to fly, your soul begins to ache when it's time to grow. Many people misinterpret this feeling. They think something's wrong. They say, "Why can't I just be content? Why can't I just relax?" But the truth is that restlessness is not a lack of peace. It's an announcement that peace is found in motion. You will never feel settled until you start doing what you were created to do. You will never rest until you respond to what your heart keeps reminding you of. That tug on your spirit is purpose's way of saying, "Don't die here. Don't stop now. There's more inside you." Every great person, every visionary, every leader has felt this divine restlessness. They've felt that sense of something's missing. even when everything looked fine. That's the indicator that destiny is calling your name. It's what pushes you to step out of the familiar, to walk by faith, to take risks others won't. It's what makes you leave what's safe to pursue, what's sacred. The uncomfortable truth is that growth never begins with peace. It begins with pressure. The restlessness you feel is not an enemy. It's your compass pointing toward change. When your spirit becomes uneasy, it's because heaven is trying to rearrange your path. Maybe you're too comfortable in a place that no longer challenges you. Maybe you're surrounded by people who celebrate your comfort instead of your calling. Maybe your schedule is full, but your heart is empty. That's when divine restlessness arrives, not to destroy your peace, but to redirect it. It's the signal that says, this isn't it. Keep moving. Some of your greatest seasons will begin with sleepless nights. You'll toss and turn because something within you refuses to settle for mediocrity. That's not anxiety. That's awakening. When you begin to sense that feeling, don't rush to escape it. Sit with it. Ask, what are you trying to show me? Because sometimes God doesn't shout from the sky. He stirs your soul. He disturbs your comfort to deliver your calling. He unsettles your sleep to unlock your strength. Restlessness is the invitation to rise. The reason it feels uncomfortable is because you're being stretched. You're being prepared for a higher level of responsibility, revelation, and resilience. Like a seed buried in the soil, you're beginning to break open. The darkness you feel is not the end. It's the beginning of growth. You're being pushed by purpose. And that pressure you feel is proof that something new is being born inside of you. The worst thing you can do when you feel restless is to numb it. Too many people silence that divine stirring with distractions, entertainment, comfort, social media, routine. But when you do that, you're silencing your own evolution. That restlessness isn't there to torment you. It's there to transform you. If you would just pause and listen, you'd realize it's not chaos you're hearing. It's your future calling you forward. Sometimes your spirit is just reminding you that you were never meant to live small. You were not created to settle, to hide, to drift through life without direction. That deep unease inside of you is your destiny saying, you've been sleeping too long. Wake up. You were born to make an impact. It's heaven shaking you gently, saying, get up. I'm ready to reveal what's next. The most powerful breakthroughs often begin when we stop fighting our restlessness and start following it. Let it guide you to new routines, new goals, new disciplines. If you're awake at 3 a.m., maybe that's not insomnia. Maybe that's inspiration. Maybe it's time to pray, to write, to plan, to dream again. Those quiet hours are sacred. They are where divine restlessness turns into revelation. So when your peace feels interrupted, don't always assume it's a problem. Sometimes it's progress. When sleep won't come easily, maybe it's because your purpose won't let it. You're not being punished. You're being prepared. Your spirit is being fine tuned for what's ahead. That stirring, that ache, that pull, that's your higher calling trying to get your attention. And once you listen, once you respond, once you rise, that restlessness will turn into direction, and that direction will lead you straight into your destiny. While the world sleeps, destiny stays awake. Purpose does not rest. When the clock strikes midnight, it moves quietly through the darkness, waiting for the ones who will rise early enough to hear its whisper. Greatness is not born in noise or chaos. It's conceived in the stillness when no one is watching, when no one applauds, when the night is deep and the world is unaware. The greatest shifts in history did not begin under bright lights. They began in moments of silence, with people who dared to listen when everyone else was asleep. You see, the night has a language of its own. It speaks to those who are willing to be still, to those who are willing to separate from the crowd long enough to tune into something greater. While others chase comfort, the called ones chase clarity. They know that destiny doesn't operate on the world's schedule. It moves in the unseen, preparing opportunities, aligning connections, stirring hearts. And when the world finally wakes up, destiny has already chosen who will lead the day. That's why you can't be afraid of isolation. You can't be discouraged when it feels like no one sees your effort, no one notices your growth, no one understands your hunger. Because while the world sleeps, something inside you is being shaped. You're being prepared in silence for what will later be revealed in the open. The seed doesn't grow in daylight, it grows underground, in darkness, where no one claps for it. That's where its roots deepen, its strength develops, and its potential takes form. Likewise, destiny shapes you when nobody is watching. People often want visibility before they're ready for responsibility. They want the stage without the solitude. But destiny doesn't work like that. It demands privacy before it gives you promotion. It will hide you before it highlights you. Because in the hidden seasons, character is built. Integrity is tested, patience is formed. You learn how to hear your inner voice instead of the noise of the crowd. The night season is where the foundation of greatness is laid. When the world is sleeping, heaven is still working. Doors are being positioned, paths are being prepared, and hearts are being moved in your favor. Just because you can't see movement doesn't mean there isn't any. The silence of the night is deceptive. It looks empty, but it's full of divine activity. That's why faith is so powerful. It allows you to trust that something is happening even when everything seems still. There's a reason destiny often calls in the quiet hours, because silence sharpens sensitivity. When distractions fade, your spiritual ears open. When the noise dies down, the direction becomes clear. Some of the most life-changing ideas you'll ever receive will come when the world is still asleep. Those are the moments when you feel a spark inside, a thought that won't leave, a pull toward something greater. Don't ignore it. Write it down, pray over it, act on it. Because destiny often whispers, and only those awake in silence can hear it. The truth is, Many people miss their moment because they're waiting for noise to confirm what silence already told them. They're waiting for applause before they believe in themselves. But destiny doesn't need an audience to start its work. It only needs your attention. It only needs your willingness to listen. The world may not see it yet, but destiny sees you already becoming. It's shaping your future in unseen ways, molding your heart, refining your vision. Every moment of quiet obedience, every hour spent in unseen preparation, it all counts. When others rest, you rise. Not because you're better, but because you're called. Destiny doesn't allow you to stay comfortable. It pushes you to wake up early, stay up late, and press deeper. You might look strange to others. They might not understand why you're so driven, why you spend your nights praying, writing, learning, dreaming. But you understand something they don't. While the world sleeps, destiny moves. You're not losing rest. You're gaining revelation. In the silence, you learn to trust timing. You realize that destiny doesn't rush. It unfolds in perfect order. Just because it's quiet doesn't mean it's delayed. The quiet season is sacred. It's where strength gathers, like an eagle waiting for the wind. You're being trained to soar at the right moment. Silence is not punishment, it's positioning. When the world is still, heaven is setting the stage for your next chapter. Sometimes it feels lonely walking the path of purpose. You'll look around and see others relaxed, content unbothered. Meanwhile, something inside you refuses to settle. That's because your timeline is different. You're being led by something eternal, something that doesn't sleep or slumber. Destiny is awake even when you're weary. It keeps watch over your life, making sure every delay works in your favor. Every setback becomes a setup. Every closed door redirects you to the right one. If you've ever felt like your best work happens in private, that's not an accident. The early morning prayers, the late night tears, the quiet moments of reflection, they all carry weight. You're building something invisible first, so that when it becomes visible, it can last. The world applauds results, but destiny honors roots. What you do when no one sees determines what happens when everyone does. So when the night feels long, when silence seems heavy, when you feel like the world has moved on without you, remember this: the world may be asleep, but your destiny isn't. While others rest, your purpose is being refined. While others dream, you're preparing to live your dream. Greatness doesn't need an audience to begin. It only needs a willing heart. The silence you feel is not emptiness. It's creation in progress. The world might not know your name yet, but heaven does. The world might not see your progress yet, but destiny does. And when the time is right, everything that's been forming in the dark will step into the light. The silence will break, and what's been hidden will speak loudly. But until then, keep moving quietly. Keep believing. Keep building. Because the world may be asleep, but your purpose, your destiny, is wide awake, writing the story of your greatness in the stillness of the night. The first light of morning carries something powerful that no other part of the day can offer. It's the moment when heaven seems closest, when your spirit feels most alive, and when the energy of a new beginning flows freely. In that sacred stillness between darkness and dawn, your mind is open, your heart is soft, and your thoughts are pure. Morning clarity is not just about being awake, it's about being aware. It's about connecting to the divine rhythm of creation before the noise of the world begins to drown it out. Those who honor the morning hour understand that how you start your day determines how you live it. The victories of the day are decided in the silence of the morning. When you rise early, you position yourself before the rush of the world. You give your spirit a head start while others are still sleeping. You open your heart to wisdom and direction that can only be received in stillness. The world teaches you to wake up and run, but destiny teaches you to wake up and align. That alignment, that moment of clarity before the world demands your attention, is where strength is renewed, vision is sharpened, and peace is restored. Morning clarity is not accidental, it's intentional. You create it by choosing presence over pressure, reflection over reaction, peace over panic. There's a reason the morning is called the golden hour. It's when your mind is least cluttered, your emotions are most balanced, and your thoughts are most creative. This is when you can hear what your heart has been trying to tell you all along. The worries of yesterday fade in the light of a new dawn. Every sunrise is a message from heaven saying, "You've been given another chance." What you do with that chance determines how your day unfolds. Some people rush into the day without direction and wonder why they feel lost by noon. But those who pause, who pray, who plan, who listen, they walk through the day with clarity, confidence, and calm. Morning clarity doesn't just happen because the sun rises. It happens when you rise with intention. The quiet time before the world awakens is your opportunity to speak life over your day, to set the tone of your attitude, and to command your atmosphere. You are not just waking up your body, you are awakening your purpose. When you take that first hour to center yourself, to talk with God, to write your goals, or to meditate in silence, you are creating order in your spirit that will translate into order in your life. The battles that come later in the day are won in the calm before them. The person who conquers the morning is already halfway to victory. In the morning, your thoughts are like fresh soil. Whatever seeds you plant will take root quickly. If you fill your mind with gratitude, your day will grow in joy. If you fill it with worry, your day will follow that direction. That's why morning clarity is so important. It's your chance to reset, to choose your mindset, and to align your emotions with peace instead of panic. The first words you speak, the first thoughts you think, and the first actions you take create a spiritual momentum that carries you forward. If you want to live in victory, start your mornings with purpose. When you pray in the morning, you are not just asking for strength, you are receiving strategy. The answers that seem hidden in the noise of the day often appear in the silence of the morning. That's when the Spirit gives you direction, ideas, and insight that can change everything. You may not hear an audible voice, but you'll feel a pull, a peace, a gentle knowing that says, "This is the way." That quiet assurance is what guides champions through their day. They move with focus because they've already received clarity. Planning in the morning is not just about scheduling tasks. It's about designing your destiny. When you take time to write down your goals, you are telling the universe that you are serious about your purpose. You're turning dreams into direction. You're putting structure to your spirit. The morning gives you space to look at the bigger picture, to evaluate your priorities, to make sure your steps are ordered, not rushed. Because when the noise of the world rises, clarity fades. But when you plan in peace, you can move through chaos with grace. Preparation in the morning is a form of worship. It's a declaration that you value the gift of the day enough to steward it well. When you prepare your mind, your heart, and your environment before the demands come, you create room for excellence. You show up ready, not reactive. You walk through the day as the leader of your life, not the follower of circumstances. Morning clarity gives you power. Power to choose patience over anger, faith over fear, purpose over pressure. Think about how creation itself begins. The sun rises gradually, not in chaos. The light spreads softly, not with noise. Nature starts the day in order, not confusion. You were designed the same way. Your soul needs that gentle alignment with peace before diving into the demands of life. That's why you feel different on the days you start with stillness versus the days you start with stress. One invites grace, the other invites exhaustion. One builds focus, the other breeds frustration. The difference is clarity. When you wake and rush, you live reactive. When you wake and reflect, you live proactive. The most successful, peaceful, and powerful people in the world share one secret. They own their mornings. They don't wait for the world to give them direction. They create it in silence. Their strength doesn't come from luck. It comes from preparation. Their peace doesn't come from circumstances. It comes from clarity. Every morning is an opportunity to meet your future before it happens. To talk to God about what's ahead before you face it. To declare over your life that today will be fruitful, that your steps will be guided, that your mind will be steady. When you set your heart in alignment early, the challenges that come later don't shake you as easily. You've already built a foundation of peace that nothing can take from you. There's something sacred about greeting the day before the day greets you. In that quiet space, you realize that victory isn't about fighting harder. It's about thinking clearer. It's not about doing more. It's about being more aligned. Every prayer whispered, every thought clarified, every plan written becomes a seed for success. The day bends toward those who begin it with purpose. Morning clarity is not a ritual. It's a rhythm. It's your daily conversation with destiny. It's where you tell life, I'm ready for whatever comes because I've already aligned with peace, power, and purpose. When you own the morning, you own the day. When you begin in focus, you walk in favor. And when you prepare your spirit before the sun rises, the light of that preparation will shine through every challenge, every task, and every victory that follows.